Hola, amigos. Welcome to the Tech-Mex podcast. We're your hosts, Eric and Mando, and this is episode Cuarenta y Siete. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you too can be a cookie monster. Dale.
A cookie monster. What the heck is that?
Cookie monster.
Tell me why a cookie monster.
All right. So I don't know if you heard over this last week in Bitcoin, there was an exchange between Michael Dell and Michael Saylor. So they were talking about scarcity. And at the end of the Twitter exchange, they posted a Bitcoin cookie monster. So basically, the cookie monster eating all the Bitcoin. I imagine that's Michael Saylor because that's how he acts,
Michael
right?
Saylor.
That's Michael Saylor. He eats Bitcoin like cookies. So that's pretty funny. But it's pretty interesting, actually, the whole conversation that they had over Twitter. So it's interesting. So I don't know if this is kind of like, is Michael Dell about to buy some Bitcoin too to put on their assets also, or what? But that's what some people are saying. So Michael Dell posted something about scarcity. Scarcity is it. That's kind of where you find value, right? And of course, that's like Michael Saylor's calling card. So Michael Saylor saw that. He's like, hey, let me go talk to my other buddy, Michael Dell. And so they had a short Twitter exchange kind of talking about how the scarcity, that Bitcoin is digital scarcity. And so, you know, they kind of hit it off. And at the end, it kind of looked like he had Michael Saylor, or Saylor had orange pilled Dell. So it's pretty interesting conversation all happening online.
Nice. There has been the other one that is interesting though. What is happening though is, do you remember that in one of the previous episodes we talked about Terrence Howard, and that he was saying on the Joe Rogan Experience, but that he sent a paper to Neil deGrasse Tyson a few years back, 8 years back, and basically that crickets, right? That Neil deGrasse Tyson basically ignored him on the whole paper. So now there is a video from Neil that actually he posted it, right, last week. And then now the whole internet is just talking about his response. Did you have a chance to watch the episode?
Yeah, I watched the response. So, you know, okay, I'm not sure like what really went on back here, because supposedly this happened like years ago, like 8 years ago or something.
8 years ago, yes.
8 years ago, right? And so they had met, I guess, at a party or something like that. And the response that he gave Terrence Howard.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said that also he wanted to talk to him because his mom was saying that he was a very good actor. so it was nice to just connect with Terrence. At least that's what he said in his video, right? So.
Yeah, he probably liked that hustle and flow. Whoop, that drip. But anyways, so like so Terrence sends him this thing, you know, he's like, hey bud, you know, I guess they were chatting at the party, and he's like, I'm gonna send this thing to you, tell me what you think. And Neil deGrasse like tore it apart, man. I guess, you know, here's the thing. Neil deGrasse is obviously a scientist, right? So he's used to reading papers, and he's used to editing papers, and he's used to like doing peer review for publications, right? He's used to doing this stuff. So when he gets this and he sees it, he's like, oh no. And so like he marks it up like as if he would do any other publication or peer review for a paper that he would do, right? Because more than likely his name's going to be associated with it in some way or form. And so he wants to give it a legitimate review, and that thing was all marked up in red.
I am not disagreeing with you on that. The part that I disagree in the whole situation is that I saw a little refutation of the specifics surrounding his claims. The only one was the one that everybody is kind of like, huh? Like the 1 times 1 equal 2, right? So even like I've seen in internet 3. So and I think that, yeah, sure, that one is it's a little bit more out there. But the other ones, I mean, the guy, like Neil deGrasse Tyson called Terrence, it's a beautiful art.
It's like,
WTF, man?
I would put that on my wall, but not in a publication.
So I think that Neil deGrasse Tyson was trying to school everyone, right? Like, hey, this is how we do peer reviews, and this is how science works, and this is like literally how papers supposed to be mint, clean, and just there is a procedure, there is a process. Like, bro, not everything happened in that way, right? So you sure there is a systemic and organized way. By the way, I'm a computer science, so I get it, right?
Mhm.
But like I tell my daughters, don't ever let the school stop your education, right? Similar here. Don't let
Uh,
scientists stop innovation, right?
yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, from Neil's, I mean, from Neil's point of view, maybe he should have seen like, look, this is not like a real like, it's not going to get published in a scientific journal. Like, why treat it that way? He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to go so hard on him.
So
Uh,
harsh, yes.
yeah, it was pretty harsh, but then again, he didn't want this thing to leak. He's already in the media, so he knows how things are. He didn't want it to like go out and be like, whoa, Neil deGrasse said it was okay, so he probably knew, there's there's a fine line that he was trying to thread. And obviously, I think anyone on the scientific side would obviously say, yeah, that's not a real scientific paper. But maybe for Terrence, he just wanted to put his ideas onto paper and get other people to talk about them. Not necessarily to treat it as something that's going to get published and kind of bring it down. So I can see both sides, but either way, I think it's really good that this discussion is being had out in public. I mean, anytime you treat new ideas, you got to talk about them. That's the whole point of science. And Neil did say some of that, like, hey, that's the whole point, is we got to get these ideas out and talk about them. So I think they did do that. Maybe he didn't have to mark it up all the way like that. Give
Red,
Terrence
red, red.
a little bit of leeway there, since that's not his background and things like that. Even though he does say he's a what is he? He's a chemist or something like that. Who knows?
Who
But
knows though? But
yeah,
it doesn't matter if the guy doesn't have any school, right? It's just ideas are. Sometimes it's just the truth is there, right? So
yeah.
Tyson's video, it was underwhelmingly avoiding on a lot of the other portions. He's just literally attacking Terrence, and it's like that's not the case. It's like literally you're telling him that he's not writing like a scientist, right? That's not the point of the ideas. And basically, I think that for me it would be more important if he actually debates the some of those scientific questions that Terrence was putting there, right? And if it was okay, if Neil deGrasse Tyson say, you know what, I don't know, like we are in the ages of our own understanding in science, instead of attacking like the structure of his prose on his document, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. I still think it would be a really good idea for them to do a live, like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
discussion. That'd be
I'm both
fun.
are highly articulated, right?
Uh,
And it will be interesting. It will be more interesting that debate, that political debate.
I know, right? Hey, put them both on Joe Rogan. I'm ready.
Yes, yes. Another freaking 2 3 hours, huh?
Yeah, that'd be good. But I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, let's take a look at it like without the lens of it being scientific and having all the rules. Talk about the ideas. See where he's coming from without just shutting it down right away, because it did seem like that. He's like, from the very front page, I think he said, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. The whole premise of your argument here is gonna basically ruin the rest of his writing there.
The
So
validity of the whole document, yeah.
yeah, so
Which is was
yeah.
just a premise, right? A stand. So, but yeah, I agree. I hope that Rogan is able to convince both, because he had them both in his pod. So it will be very interesting.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to watch. And if they have a little alcohol or something like that, things can get a little bit looser.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, moving on Bitcoin. Dude, do you remember the Winklevoss twins?
The who? From the social network?
Yes, yes, indeed. So if you don't know who are these guys are, there is I recommend to watch the movie Social Media, right?
I
That's the
thought
name of the
the
movie.
Social Network, maybe.
Social Network, yeah, Social
I don't
Network.
really know. Yeah.
And basically, kind of denotes the story that these twins, they were in Harvard, and they basically almost hire Mark Zuckerberg to help them to code this idea that they had that was kind of a social network in that time with MySpace, and they were trying to come up with a social media for Harvard. And then the whole drama and saga became there because they said that Mark Zuckerberg stole his idea, which they went to court for it, and actually they got 60 mils. So I guess they settle somehow. So there's a piece of truth to that. But yes, those guys now donated 2 million Bitcoin to support of Donald Trump. What do you think about that?
Well, and like I said, right, we covered this video the other day, and we had a viral hit the other week about Trump just came out and said, "Hey, he's pro Bitcoin. We are going to make sure Elizabeth Warren doesn't touch your Bitcoin. They're going to make sure you can store everything, cold storage." So he was saying all the right things, and look, it attracted the Winklevoss twins over here to donate $2 million in Bitcoin towards his thing. So here's the thing: like I said, lots of people are going to be single issue voters, and his that strategy seems to be working out.
For sure, and it was very strong. The kind of their own proposition is like Donald Trump is pro Bitcoin, pro crypto, pro business, and pro business choice, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
basically the twins, they were urging the crypto army to do the same. So so very strong words, right, for the whole community. It's like rallying literally the troops of the crypto bros and the DJs.
Yeah, the
OG
DJs, right?
DJ.
DJ OG DJ.
Those for those that don't know what we're talking about is people that they have been there for 10 years, right? Hodling their crypto in the ups and downs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so it's pretty interesting. I think we're going to see a little bit more of this, and we're not like saying one way or another in terms of like politics and things like that. We're just covering the news, but it's pretty interesting to see this strategy is starting to pay off, and I'm waiting to see like what is the other side going to end up doing here in terms of trying to win over the 50 million crypto people here in the U.S. Be interesting.
For sure. And again, we are not financial advisors. We are just two dudes in the the internet. But we can just tell you for experience. It's like some of these are even these guys, they became billionaires, right? On some of that investment. And it was through the belief on Bitcoin, because with that money that they got from the settlement, they just went literally all in and created even they created the first instrument in Wall Street to be able for everyone to invest in crypto, and then kind of was the next steps to be able to create the ETF that we have been discussing. But yeah, very very interesting how very quickly it's becoming political. So because obviously this year is a political year,
Mm-hmm.
so whether you like it or not, you're still going to have a president, right? If you are here in United States.
Yeah, and that also goes to show, like Bitcoin, crypto, it is now hitting mainstream. If it's really getting to the point that it's becoming one of these talking points in um, in the debates that are going to come up right for the presidency. So
Yeah.
most people have heard of Bitcoin now. A lot of people, 50 million people, hold Bitcoin or crypto. So it's becoming a bigger talking point, especially because of the economic climate with the inflation and things that we see currently.
I mean, it's about 10-15% of population, right? It's very hard to know from those addresses if it's only one person, because one person could hold many wallets. But still, they know that it's kind of a sizable number. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that's basically what was on the news. What else was on the news?
All right. So in AI this week, so a lot of people have already started using ChatGPT, and they can tell It's getting a lot better. Well, so they started doing these studies for the Turing test using ChatGPT 4.0. And guess what? They're saying that ChatGPT 4.0 has passed the Turing test. Okay. Uh, you want to explain what the Turing test is just in general for the audience, Mando?
Yeah, so basically they came with this test, and it was from the computer scientist Turing, that how the algorithm or the machine can deceptively, because it's like a deception, to figure out that it's like a behaves like a human being. And before it was just text mode, right? But now it's becoming so advanced that you can see it on AI and in different levels. So sometimes they put originally they were even trying to put like different a person, and in the other end like a literally blog to figure out, okay, is the person trying to chat with a machine, and then the person couldn't tell, it's like, is this a person or not? And that's kind of the basis of the Turing test.
Yeah, exactly. So in this experiment that they did, it was a there's three participants in the experiment. Basically, they had ChatGPT 4.0 on one side and then a human on the other side. And then there was the person that was trying to guess which is a human. So the person in the middle is asking ChatGPT, "Hi, how are you? How's your day? What's your favorite ice cream?" And they would both answer, right? The human would answer and ChatGPT would answer, and they had to pick which one's the human. Well, guess what? The person picked ChatGPT 4.0 over half the time being the human, which of course ChatGPT is not a human, it's an AI. And so, right, technically in this experiment, they're seeing that ChatGPT 4.0 has passed the Turing test, and over half the time, it considers it having more human answers than the actual human.
It's more human than humans. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things when I was in Twitter. That's one of the things that Elon was mentioning, that Twitter was the consciousness of humanity. It's a very high statement of saying, because it's sometimes people in Twitter or X, they're a little bit angry. So maybe consciousness is a bit angry, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I did see some of the questions that they were asking in the Turing test, but it was basically like a normal conversation. It's like if you bumped into someone on the street or at the grocery store or something, just started chatting them up. Hey, how's work? Or hey, do you have plans? Or how's your day going? Is these little basic questions like this that might come up in a conversation, and that's what it was answering. But as we saw in the big demo, right, the her demo that we saw from OpenAI ChatGPT, that thing can have a pretty good, just normal conversation, and even has that Scarlett Johansson flirty voice and everything like that. I think this was just text. I don't think it was voice, but yeah, it can carry on conversation just right. And I've even seen the videos where they put two different chat GPTs talking to each other back and forth, and they'll just keep going back and forth. So, it gets pretty good at that.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that is kind of pushing is basically AI is exhausting the power grid. So
Mhm.
it's consuming between Bitcoin and AI. It's consuming a lot of energy, and I think that we're gonna see this increasing, which is kind of the very it's a very good engineering challenge to be able to harness some of the energy, like clean energy. Like maybe there is some dams that they have the flow of water, and they don't know how to do with all of that energy. Guess what? We need to make sure that we are putting like data centers close to those, or Bitcoin mining, which they are. In that way, we can keep harnessing that energy instead of wasting it. So I think that we will start seeing some, um, I guess, political credits, like from the government, and as well from other institutions, to be able to kind of recoup that energy. Because yeah, between AI and Bitcoin, the next 10 years, the consumption is going to be massive.
Yeah. And as we know, we're here in Texas. We've always had problems with the electrical grid just because we're kind of isolated on our own grid. I don't know how it's going to work because we are bringing in lots of lots of more companies in that are AI companies and Bitcoin company, like Bitcoin mining companies, and they are pretty electrical heavy. So I know that's something that's on the mind of a lot of the electrical ERCOT grid folks here, but we need to make sure that they keep up with all of the draw. I know with the Bitcoin miners, they actually provide for a little bit extra electricity to be had, to be generated, and so that whenever there is a drawdown, they can shut down their mining facilities and let that electricity go to the people that need it within the grid. So I know there's a good way that they're balancing it. I wonder if there's something similar that can be done with AI, with all the data centers that are going to be needed to be doing that. I know we've heard from Jensen Huang, and then Altman. You know, they've been talking about they want this $7 trillion plan to build like this mega AI chip factory to be able to have enough chips to work on all this AI. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of money that's going to be flowing into there, and there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We'll see how that develops. Which kind of is that's leading us to the next topic about Tesla. So I need to tell the audience this, man. So I went to your house, right, like last week, and beautiful house for sure. And then it's like, hey, Eric, I see your desk. You're missing your desk. It's like, what happened? When you gonna get your literally your table, right? Tell the audience what you say to me.
All right. So here's the thing. So I've got one of those standing desks that goes up and down with the buttons, but it didn't come with a top, right? And so I told Mondo when he asked, I said, no, I'm waiting to get my Cybertruck so I can go to Home Depot, pick up my tabletop and install it that way. But I want to use the Cybertruck to do truck things. So I'm like waiting. I just put the tabletop. I just built it this last month,
So
and I'm
you need to
waiting like to
do
do the top.
Cybertruck things, I guess. And one of
so,
those is
so
go to
I'm gonna
Home
film
Depot.
it and be like, "Look, I'm doing truck things in my Cybertruck. It's not just for show."
You're gonna have to put that on a t-shirt. so
Cybertruck doing
so
Cybertruck things.
yes, exactly. No, what I think that they're very handy. I mean, we live in Texas. Sometimes we get like everybody's laughing at Texans when everybody wants to have a truck in Texas. Let me tell you, trucks are very handy. Sometimes you have to rent some of those, right? Like if you're building anything, like you need a freaking truck or at least an SUV, so that way you move everything. But yes, I don't know how big is the bed,
It's a
the
six
size
foot
of the bed.
bed, so it's pretty big. And then when you fold down the door, it'll be I think 8 foot. So you can carry plywood or sheetrock whatever in there.
Yeah,
I'm not
because
going to be
that's
doing that. I'm
literally.
going to be carrying my desk tabletop in the back. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, yeah, I get to do truck stuff now. So
I just hope that you don't get like your truck like in 6 months, right?
I know, right? I'm banking on it being here this month or next. Well, not this month, June, but in July, hopefully.
Mhm.
But I should be getting my VIN pretty soon. I already did my real order and deposit, so should be right around the corner.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm on the queue, right? But I think that yours is a little couple months before me. So we'll see. We'll see when I get my
Well,
invite.
on that, I've seen that they're actually getting through the full queue already, like pretty quickly. So you might get an invite if you're willing to pay for the foundation series. But actually, I think they're already stopping the foundation series. So I don't know. Just depending where you are in the queue, you might still have a chance. But I think they're going to start their normal deliveries maybe in FY25. So
We'll see.
uh, yeah.
So talking about Cybertrucks, though, is so I'm shaking my head here, right? Did you saw the news that someone vandalized almost the whole parking lot of Cybertrucks?
Yeah,
Um,
man, that's just gonna slow me down with getting my desktop.
or you're gonna get a one basically Cybertruck truck that it says "fuck you, Elon." Right? We will beat this, but yeah, it's a shame. I mean, like, why people will do that, man? It's like, and you can see the whole parking lot is like truck after truck after truck with vandalized, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
it looked like at least 100 Cybertrucks there, right?
yep.
Maybe more. It was a huge lot, and they were all tagged up. Now, I get it. Like Elon is a polarizing figure in a lot of ways, is because of what he's done with X, and the all the politics that he's playing and things like that. But these are people's trucks, man. It's like
It's not
they're waiting
Elon.
to build their stuff at home, and they can't do it without their truck.
Yeah, they cannot build their desk. so
They're
so I
trying
think
to
that,
do
and
truck things.
yeah, you know what is the very interesting is that, as you said, it's very polarized. Some people were actually pro that. It's like, what the heck, man? It's like vandalizing property is bad. It doesn't matter, like uh and but you see the people, and again, it's because some people really don't like Elon, and some people they like him. So you see that contrast and that kind of pushing between the comments. So it was very, very interesting to see different sides, right? Let me tell you, destruction is always kind of bad there in that case, and it's, as you said, it's not your property, right?
Hmm.
So but yeah, very interesting, the reaction. But you know what is the funny thing?
What's that?
The funny thing is that it's stainless steel. They were able to clean it very easily.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Apparently, paint doesn't stick too well to stainless steel. So, yeah, it probably just takes a little power washing and it'll come off, but still, it's kind of a pain. And it just slows everything down for a lot of the
mhm.
people. So,
uh, i I just think that this is absurd, right? Like but we get it, right? So well, hopefully they don't vandalize your Cybertruck here in
not in
Houston. We'll see,
Texas. In
right?
Texas, they're probably guarding the lots with guns. So, because this happened in Florida, they're probably all busy at Disneyland or at the beach or something. So,
Yeah, we'll see.
well, Tesla in other news, they've been saying that people have been getting stuck in their Teslas and not being able to get out, or I guess they don't know how to get out. So if the battery dies, right, it's an electric vehicle, and like in most current vehicles, if your battery goes out, you can't open the door in many cases. So same thing with Tesla here. People are getting stuck, and then there was in a recent news there was a toddler that was stuck inside of the car, and they couldn't figure out how to open it up and how to get them out. Of course, there's always an easy way. You can break the window and get someone
Yeah, for
out.
sure.
But but it goes to show that's what's making the news right now for Tesla. So they've got a lot of like PR stuff to kind of take care of right now.
Yeah, and I think that no wonder why sometimes Elon is very paranoid, right? I remember when we were in the office, he gave us a rant on basically how uh, he has always been thinking on this, how it's also building his own security, right, with his bodyguards and the companies, and I remember he was very clear that he said that only paranoid survive.
Hmm.
So, so he and you can tell how he thinks and how he sometimes speaks, right? So, it was an interesting kind of way of thinking, right? In a way paranoid, and I get it. I mean, it's like some people, I guess, at his level and in the society will hate him, right? And anything that he does doesn't matter if it's good or bad; they still want to hate him.
Yeah, that's something that he's that he's got to be aware of, especially when you see all these things, and even the whole Elon thing. Like people have come at him even on Twitter and things like that before. There was a congresswoman several years back that you know went at him also on Twitter. So they go after him in public. They go after him his trucks. They go after his business. Yeah, it's no wonder the guy's paranoid. He's always kind of watching his back about what's going on.
For sure. Okay, man. I think that we have a good one.
Yeah, that's all we've got for today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear from you. If you haven't watched our viral remix videos, go check them out on our channel. We've got 3 of them that are out there. That's all we've got for today. Dale.
Dale. Bye.